First, I just want to share my personal struggle with student loan debt, which I know many of you in this room have experienced, or maybe your children, and I'm sure many of your constituents. I graduated from a university here in Connecticut with $60,000 of debt 20 years ago. That's a lot of money today. 20 years ago, it was even more. And that amount of debt, Madam Speaker, was a real personal struggle for me as a newly hired employee right after college to be able to make ends meet. My monthly student loan bill was $500 a month. I was making a job right out of school where it equals about today's minimum wage. And that $500 a month made it difficult for me to be able to afford a home, afford health care, for really to be able to lay down roots. It took a long time struggling, and that student loan debt, what it does is it causes you to get into other forms of debt, like credit card debt, to make just basic bills and pay your basic necessities. And I hear from constituents I represent in Newington and New Britain who now, it could be $60,000 for 1 year of school, depending on where you go to college. If you're lucky enough to go to one of our outstanding state schools here, maybe it will be a lot less than that, but still individuals are taking on $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year in student loan debt because they want to get a college degree. They want to be able to get one of our outstanding jobs from our businesses, employers here in Connecticut, make roots here in Connecticut, but that debt is holding them back. So, Madam Speaker, as was stated previously, Connecticut is fifth, third, maybe the worst state in the nation for the amount of student loan debt for average citizen, based on any statistics that you look at that rate this. And that is not something that I want to be first in for a state, the first in the number of debt we have average per person. I want to be first in a lot of things here in Connecticut, but not the amount of student loan debt. This legislation will not completely solve that problem overnight, but it is a really good step towards getting there. And Madam Speaker, this legislation, for those individuals that it will help, is going to drastically improve their lives. For the opportunity to reduce your student loan debt by $20,000, that reduction is going to allow that person to help pay for their basic necessities, for lay down the roots that we want our young people to do here in Connecticut. Madam Speaker, it was stated by some of the speakers previously that this bill is an investment in our young people for the state of Connecticut. This bill is an investment in our economy and our workforce, because these young people who are going to participate in this program are people that are going to choose to live here, they're going to have to work here, they're going to be paying taxes here, they're going to lay down roots here, and hopefully then stay the rest of their lives and have a family here in the state of Connecticut. And Madam Speaker, without these highly educated and trained young people staying here in Connecticut, our workforce will continuously deplete. We will not be able to compete with other states, and it will hurt our overall economy. I think we enjoy the surpluses that we have right now, paying down that paying down that debt, that unfunded pension liability, paying into our rainy day fund, being able to help nonprofits. We will only be able to do that if our Connecticut economy grows, and it cannot do that without our workforce, Madam Speaker. So I ask all my colleagues to please consider, if you're on the fence about this bill, in supporting it today, think about the young people in your districts. Every one of us have hundreds of young people right now with this debt that if this bill passes today, you'll be able to go home to and say, hey, I made a big step to try to help you, to try to make sure that you get a leg up and you're going to be able to thrive here in the state of Connecticut, that we will not lose you to New York or Massachusetts, to another state. So I'm very proud to support this legislation today, Madam Speaker, and I think that our young people deserve our help, and our state will be better off for it in the future. Thank you, Madam Speaker.